It's in the title. I know a lot of y'all want me to get into this. Why are Uber Eats drivers and DoorDash drivers and gig workers quitting? At least that's the online consensus based on what I've seen. So I got a few videos I'm going to be reacting to. Let's go ahead and exit out of this to bring some of those up. But I got to ask for y'all to like the video. It's very much appreciated. Subscribe if you're new. And let me know in the comments, how do you feel about Uber Eats or DoorDash right now? And is it really that hard out there? But let's hear some opinions of why people are saying drivers are quitting.
Let's talk about it. So I've been out here doing Amazon Flex, DoorDash.
So this is from Jamie Linner. Forgive me if I'm butchering her name. And I will link to her video below in the comment section.
Walmart Spark, and baby, let me tell you, this gig work life is getting out of hand. You hear me? In 2025, drivers are quitting left and right, and honestly, I do not blame them. The apps are doing the most, the pay is going down, and honestly, I'm feeling very disposable. So in this video, I'm breaking down why so many people are giving up the hustle and whether or not I'm thinking about doing the same. Hey, y'all.
Now, right off the bat, I'm not dissing what she said. Giving up the hustle. Y'all know as the king of side hustles. I got to say that giving up the apps doesn't mean giving up the hustle. In fact, a lot of this channel is dedicated to helping people develop a hustle outside of like Uber and Lyft and all that stuff. So giving up Uber and Lyft and all that does not mean you're giving up the hustle. Preferably, you want to have that be something you can use in your inventory, but you have other ways of making money. I just had to say that because it's kind of sticking with me. Give up the hustle because you're giving up like Uber Eats and DoorDash. Let's go ahead and keep going though.
I'm James Etta. Just call me Jamie. Welcome back to another video. Hey, y'all. Happy Friday. So, y'all, we made it through the week. It is Friday. I'm currently up getting ready to go out here and do some school shopping for my 14-year-old because they start school this week, my 14-year-old and my 18-year-old. But enough about all that. Let's get into this gig work life because with this gig work life, it's always some problems. So let's be real. The money ain't what it used to be. I'm going to be real with y'all. The money ain't what it used to be. And I don't know if it's because it's oversaturated with when these different apps come out, it's just oversaturated. Everybody doing like gig work thing, whether it be DoorDash, Amazon Flex.
Okay, real quick. The money has not been what it used to be for quite some time, but I almost feel like this is a generation thing. So like every single year or two, there's a new generation of gig worker out there, and their normal is whatever the rates were when they came in or whatever the situation was. So I'll give you an example. When I started rideshare back in like 2017, the rates, I don't remember exactly what they were, but they were above like 60 cents per mile. And I always told myself they steadily start dropping throughout the years. And I told myself if it ever drops below like 65 cents per mile, that's when I'm going to stop doing rideshare. And guess what happened? It dropped below 65 cents per mile, and I stopped doing rideshare, at least under normal circumstances. Yes, I still do surge and stuff like that, but in terms of if someone requests a ride and there's no surge or nothing, I don't take the request because I don't personally think it's worth it anymore. But I'm an old head in the industry. You got people who came in at that 60 cent per mile rate that is normal for them. And let's say the rate drops to 57 cents per mile. Well, they may have an issue with it, but then there's more people coming in that's going to be their normal. So this is an endless cycle of these apps are always either dropping the rates or doing little shenanigans on the side to manipulate things to get you to drive for less money. That's the whole game around quests and arguably boosts. Like they throw a quest out there and all the drivers get it. So you'll get like an extra $50 or something if you hit 30 trips. But all the drivers get it. So that means that everyone's going to hop online and then you only do 25 trips. So you don't get the quest. But all of a sudden you've been kind of conned into driving for that 57 cents per mile. This has been the game since the gig economy was created. By gig economy, I mean like the phone app gig economy, Uber and Lyft and Uber Eats and all that stuff. So I just want to say that this is an endless cycle, and what she's saying is not really anything new. I don't know when she got started, but it just keeps getting worse and worse, which is why I want y'all to really think of your plan Bs and get that off the ground.
Walmart Spark, it's oversaturated for real. Some days you just out here for 4, 5, 6 hours, and you making anywhere from $30 to $40, and that's for 4, 5, 6 hours. You only making $30 to $40. That's really not no money.
Now that's another thing. The economy kind of reflects this, but a lot of people they just need more money, so markets are a little imbalanced. I will say that. So you got less demand in some areas, and you got more drivers. Now, with that being said, what she just said, you're out there for 5 or 6 hours and you're making $40. That's below minimum wage, or at the very least, it's meeting minimum wage. At that point, you got to look at doing something else. In fact, I'm gonna tell y'all what I do nowadays with Uber Eats delivery and Uber Eats shopping pay. I'll be sitting here on this computer doing computer work, working for clients, working on the side hustle society, working on something that's making me money, and I just turn the app on and I just let it stay on. Pings come in, a lot of them are garbage, $2, $3, $4 orders, but every 20 or 30 minutes, a gem pops up for like maybe $15 or $19. I'll close the laptop, then go do it real quick, and then I'll come back home and wait for maybe 5 or 10 minutes in the car and nothing comes. Then I come back in here and begin the process again. I think that's the new way of making this stuff work if it's that dead. But at least be utilizing the time that you're online to be making money in some way. I think that's the new modern way of doing the gig economy, at least in regards to delivery and shopping. Rideshare, I feel like you still have to get out there and just continually keep doing rides to make that work. But keep in mind that you can also be getting tipped, and I still like rideshare more. Now, the other ones pay higher in my market, but I still like rideshare more than food delivery and groceries. So there is that.
And you using your own car, gas, and wear and tear for what? And Walmart Spark ain't hitting like it used to. It really ain't. And y'all know how it is. When I did that 6 a.m. on a Monday doing Walmart Spark, I was out there for hours, really out there for a couple of hours before I really got my first order. And on a Monday, it just ain't hitting like it used to be. It's not hitting like it used to be. DoorDash ain't hitting like it used to be. And they just want you to do so much for so little. That's what I'm trying to get. Why? Y'all want us to do so much for so little, and then you have the customers that want you to do so much for so little, complain about every little thing, where at the end of the day, you can get your behind out there and get your own stuff. And then
just shout out to her saying that. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm gonna be honest, like, cause I'm a customer of these apps too, like DoorDash and Uber Eats. And when times get rough and I'm really on a budget, I don't use them. Like, cause I always feel like I need to tip the driver. If I can't tip, whatever reason, I just get my ass up and go get the food. At that point, I shouldn't be paying for food delivery if I can't afford to tip the driver. So I'm just gonna go get it. I'm just glad she said that. It's glad to hear someone else saying that.
Let's not get on to the hidden tips. We ain't gonna get on to that, to the tip baiters who will be like, oh, we'll give you this so and so much money, and then next thing you know, they take their tip back.
Now that, as far as I know, that only happens on Uber Eats. I'm gonna be honest. When that happens to me, for one thing, I have a do not do business like list where when someone tip baits me, first off, they go on that list. So when the order pops up, and I can see where the address is or where's it going, and I have the name. It's like, oh, I know not to take that because they're a scumbag. They're tip baiting. So to avoid future scenarios, they go on to do not do business list. But as far as let's say they put $15 to get you to take the order, and then they when the order is complete, they remove the tip, so you only got like $3. I'll be a complete Karen with Uber Eats support. Now there is a way to get your full $15 or whatever that Uber really owes you, but you got to be a Karen in order to do it. Let me know if y'all want a video on that. But I'm gonna be honest. if I do make a video on that, it might be members only because if everyone consumes and does it, it's not going to work anymore. Let me know if y'all want a video on that. She's right about that. I haven't gotten tip baited in quite some time though, so maybe it's gotten better with my market. But just the concept that it can still happen, like Uber, get with the times. I know, like on Doordash and these other apps, I don't know about Grubhub. I know Doordash for sure. You can't tip bait. Once they put a tip on the app and you take the order, like they can't take it back. So they just need to get rid of that stuff altogether. It's just a stupid feature. Or they can keep it, but you can increase the tip. So I tip $8. If I'm in a good mood, I'm gonna increase it to $10. Yeah, sure. But you can't take it away. It's stupid on Uber's behalf.
Really, who got time for that? Y'all, they need to do it where y'all pay, you put y'all tip up front and y'all can't take y'all tip back because Walmart Spark is notorious for tip baiting.
Oh, Walmart Spark tips bait? Oh, I didn't know that that's possible. I'm still new with the shopping stuff, so.
They're notorious for tip baiting, for real. It's just like they're playing with us. And as a gig worker, nobody really got time for that. People have families to feed. People have real life bills. And people are tired of it and they not playing no more. They're really not playing no more. You out here worrying about your customer rating, delivery times, the GPS glitches, because that's steady glitching. That's steady, the GPS, especially with Amazon Flex. The GPS steady glitching. I steady have to use my own GPS for my phone. And now folks getting deactivated left and right. You might as well go back to a regular 9 to 5 to deal with that. If it's going to be the same when it comes to the gig work.
Well, the only defense against getting deactivated from these apps is to make it as expendable as you are to them. Like, if I was to get deactivated from Uber, I would get annoyed. But is it going to break me? No, because I have other things, stewing in the pot. So, like, obviously there's a YouTube, but there's the Airbnb, there's the freelancing. My skills as a freelancer for video editing. So the best defense against fear of deactivation is to develop skill sets and make money in other ways. But she is right. I just want to give y'all some actionable advice because I'm about solutions, not just complaining about the problem.
Anxiety is real every time I open the apps. It's very real. That's just the part I don't tell y'all. And then you're wondering, did I mess up or did somebody lie on me? Because a lot of times these customers be lying just to either get something free or to mess you up. And at the end of the day, we ain't employees, but they treat us like we owe them everything. And I'm trying to figure that out. I don't understand that. Because at the end of the day, I don't owe you nothing. I'm just here to do something that I signed up to do. And that's either deliver groceries to somebody's house or pick up somebody's food and drop it off. I'm not an employee. I'm just doing something that I signed up to do on the side.
Yeah. The thing with that is until the law starts enforcing this independent contractor stuff where they come up with a new category, you might as well be an employee. I mean, the only difference is you don't sign a W-2 or a W-4. Y'all get what I'm saying. The difference is the tax paperwork.